We finally just got a chance to see Longlegs, the movie we have been both anticipating for a long time. I think horror fans everywhere are anticipating it. I'm sure you've all seen the ad campaign. They're already talking about this being the scariest movie of the decade, so we got to get into it.
I know you're not afraid of a little bit of dark. Because you are the dark. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. All it's supposed to feel.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another I Popcorn for That review. I'm Chris.
I'm Nick.
And today we're talking about Longlegs. So this is the newest film from Osgood Perkins, who is, by the way, the son of Anthony Perkins, who's famous for playing Norman Bates on Psycho. But he's kind of become famous in his own right for making little independent horror films like this. But this is definitely his biggest and most ambitious one and most promoted one. And it's seems to have a lot more money behind it. So before we get into it, what is Longlegs about?
In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying killing spree. I think that's a pretty good description of it. Not giving away too much.
That's a tight look, and that was something I appreciated a lot about the ad campaign for this movie, is that it felt like they were trying to not give away the whole movie like a lot of trailers do.
Yeah.
And it just gives you like enough to keep you curious and interested. So I really appreciated the ad campaign. The ad campaign was really creepy, and all the trailers were really creepy, and everything you saw just made you like more curious about it. So that was really cool. And also it's got Nick Cage in it, and they did a great job of like hiding, for the most part, what he's going to look like in it. Like they did all the advertising without a whole lot of Nick Cage at all, and they could have really done a lot with that, and they didn't. So I appreciated that too. So I kind of want to break this up into pros and cons and see where we're at with it, because we haven't talked about this at all, and I don't know how you feel about this movie. But I kind of want to talk about the spoiler-free positives first. So how do you feel about some positives about Longlegs?
Positives, I think it hooked me from the beginning with that first little scene when you kind of get the glimpse of Nick Cage. It's definitely Osgood Perkins. You watched The Black Coat's Daughter recently, right?
We did both just watch The Black Coat's Daughter very recently, and it definitely does feel like Osgood Perkins.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I unintentionally, without knowing really about who he was, watched two of his other movies that I did enjoy. One less so than the other, which being Gretel and Hansel, and which was on our underrated or missed horror movies. And then The Pretty Thing That Lives in the Wall, or that lives.
Was
in
that
the
the bad one? Of the bunch, or like the worst one?
I enjoyed it, but it was it wasn't as good as these other movies. For Longlegs, I think all the acting was really good. The score was really good. There wasn't much music in it, but when it was mostly, I think,
it worked really well
Nick
when
Cage.
When it was used, yeah.
And just like the shots as well from past to present, because like it would go into this like, I don't know, like 8
a different aspect ratio
or something, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. I liked that. I liked it that the size of the screen would change to kind of differentiate time periods and things like that. And I like just the way the movie shot in general too. Like it has this. The Black Coat's Daughter kind of had a little bit of this too, but it has kind of this like, I don't know what to call it. It's like a haziness to it, or a little bit of film grain maybe, but not in the same way that like The Holdovers was or something like that. So I don't know how to put my finger on it.
It's like 10%
to me, it just feels like very
or something.
Yeah. And for me, the biggest standout is Nicolas Cage's character, because he's absolutely hinges off. You know, this is the kind of Nick Cage that people are begging for all the time, is for him to just absolutely lose his mind, and he seems to relish the stuff, and they let him go with no reins at all. And I thought that, for me at least, that delivered and worked really well. It is borderline like comical, so it's kind of like, it felt like if you've seen Barbarian. Maybe it felt like a little bit like that, where it's like, it's so over the top, ridiculously, like, it is very creepy, but it's so over the top and ridiculous that it is almost flirting with funny. And people were laughing. And by the way, there is some dark humor here, and people were laughing in my theater for sure at some stuff. So I didn't expect that.
some of his performance kind of reminded me of Kick-Ass whenever he's set on fire and he's like talking to Hit Girl, his daughter, in that, but he's like screaming.
Take cover, child! Now switch to kryptonite!
I was like, that. It sounds exactly like that, but different.
Yeah, this is full blown unhinged Nick Cage, but it's like a different version of it. Nick Cage loses himself in this Longlegs character. So I guess before we get into like any negatives or anything, I do want to say a little bit about the general story that's going on here without getting into spoilers yet. But I do want to talk about spoilers eventually, so we'll warn you. The plot, like you said, we've got this FBI agent. What's her name? Mike.
Lee Harker.
Lee Harker.
Lee Harker, yeah.
So Lee Harker is this real young FBI agent, and her first time out doing any kind of interviews, field interviews, she has like basically a premonition that the person that they're looking for is in a particular house, and that turns out to be true. And so we start to test, and I don't know if this is something that really goes on in the real world or not, but we're testing to see if she's like clairvoyant in some kind of way, or intuitive, or whatever.
Some kind of psychic,
and and she's like half psychic. She's like sometimes psychic-ish. And so they call her like intuitive. And they immediately put her on this really old case of people being like family annihilations happening over time, that they have all these similarities. And to me, this is where it started to feel like, did this feel like any other movies to you at this point? Because it was reminding me of like a little bit Zodiac and a little bit Silence of the Lambs, but honestly more Zodiac, because you've got like Jake Gyllenhaal as that character that's trying to solve the Zodiac puzzle and decode everything. I don't know. I just felt like,
but there's no real like psychic element to Zodiac, and I think Jake Gyllenhaal is just a reporter and that, not a cop or anything.
No, I mean that part's different, but I just the general like vibe of the movie, I didn't know that I was, because I knew so little about this going into it, I didn't know I was getting like not like a procedural or something like that, but it's like a cop horror movie. Like it's like the FBI is on a case and we gotta solve a puzzle and everything like that, which was cool and a welcome surprise, but it's just not the movie I thought we were gonna get, because all of this stuff about this being like the scariest movie of the decade, it just makes you think I don't think I agree with that, and I think that is a discredit to this movie, because I don't even know if it wants to be the scariest movie of the decade. It's just good. It is a good one though.
I didn't know we were going to get kind of like demonic stuff with this one. I thought it was going to be like more of her following a serial killer, but it definitely gets to that demonic type of thing. Satanist.
I'm finding myself dancing around things, so I'm tempted to say like I'm gonna get into spoilers pretty soon. I don't know. Is there is there anything you want to say that
I already did kind of spoil a little bit right there?
Okay, we're in spoilers, so if you haven't seen this movie, if you're a horror fan, you definitely got to go check it out. I want to go see it again, so it's definitely worth checking out. I do have some little nitpicks, so I will say like one thing is, this is a guy. So Longlegs is our villain here, but Longlegs is ultimately, and I'm kind of asking you the question actually too. Well, what do we think? Because Longlegs is not like Satan himself, right?
No, I don't think so. I think
like
he was serving Satan, and I think the dolls he was making were like a conduit for Satan to get into these people.
So when we crack the case, it ultimately turns out that Longlegs is making these dolls that resemble the daughters of these families, who all have like 9-year-old daughters that are all about to turn 9 on the 14th of some month, and within 6 days, give or take, of their birthdays, this thing happens, which is this doll has this little metal orb inside of it that I guess has like a little of the devil in it.
Yeah.
And that's enough to possess the family and cause the father to just annihilate his whole family, and then do the same to himself. And this happens over and over again, and there's no evidence of anybody, outside of the family. There's no breaking and entering, so that's why it's been this hard case to crack and everything. I guess my problems are, like, for one thing, what does hell or Satan like gain from all this? Like, I'm not sure what the project they're working on is, and I think that's my biggest complaint, is like things start to become uncovered that lead to further clues and everything, and they draw out a map, and it's like there's missing things, and there's this draws a pentagram, and like there's a missing hole here, and this is about to happen, we have to stop this from happening.
Well,
but they never tell you like what it is, what happens if the pentagram's completed, or what's the goal of everything.
Well, they reference Revelation a couple of times, so I thought that they're working
Was like
towards
the end of the world.
causing Revelation, maybe. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what
well,
I thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
maybe that's it. Maybe I just didn't pick up on that part of it because I was trying to figure out like what is the ultimate project? Because like, is it just that like Satan loves evil stuff going on, and so like watching a family destroy itself is like really cool for him, and he's just like, this is it. This is my favorite TV show. Or is it like he just needs more souls? I'm just, it's like a weird thing when you think about it probably too much. So
Well,
maybe I'm just overanalyzing it, but
yeah, because I mean, I'm pretty certain that's what it was supposed to be, is them
like
bringing
the end of the world.
Satan, the end of the world, yeah.
The other thing is the mother of our main character here, it turns out, is the one who's the accomplice the whole time, and she dresses up like this nun and goes to all these people's houses. And I find it a little suspicious that like there's never an issue with a nun trying to give somebody like a life-size copy of their daughter as a doll that they won in a contest. But let's just pretend that always works out or whatever.
Well, I mean, all the families get annihilated right when it happens, so.
So I guess it's just like the moment you see it, you're possessed, and so you
Yeah,
can't help but
that's
accept
what
it or
it
something
seemed
like
like, yeah.
So if that's the case, and the mom is the accomplice, then she's essentially possessed too. Like she's just entered into this contract to save her daughter's life, who is the FBI agent now. If she's like possessed, she's only doing the work of Satan. I mean, it becomes clear that up until the end of her life, she's only doing what Satan wants her to do. But there's this moment where Harker is in the house with her mom, and she's asking her mom these questions and stuff, and she's like, I don't remember anybody coming to the house, but I do save everything. And there's a box of stuff upstairs that's got a bunch of photos and stuff in it, so you should look through that. And it's like, I'm like, did she know that there's photos in there of Longlegs that will ultimately lead to his capture? Because like, why would you want her to find that? That like goes against everything. So it's, anyway, these are all nitpicks, but it's just these little things where I'm like,
Well, I mean,
And
I
I-
can see that being the case, that she did want him to get caught, because she kind of makes a point to say, or at least it shows through the film, that she doesn't like doing what she's doing, but she's just kind
I
of
guess
stuck in doing it.
I guess that's true. I guess I thought it was supposed to be like she's like being controlled by Satan in her mind. So like, why would you want to like also help your daughter out? Because
Yeah,
it's a little bit.
I didn't get that she was being controlled. I think she entered into, because like he kind of gives her an option. It seems like either you help me or this is gonna happen to you. And I think she decided to help him. So like I didn't see as her being possessed. I think she was just kind of like shut off. But maybe.
Switch to kryptonite!
So I mean, I think that's all of my nitpicks for the most part. I can see people thinking it's a little slow in the beginning and maybe a little sleepy in the beginning until you finally get into the meat of it. I can also see people getting like talked into going to see this movie because of this aggressive ad campaign saying that it's like the scariest movie ever. And I can see some people being disappointed with what they get because I've seen scarier movies, but at the end of the day, I walked away feeling like I really liked that. I could have watched a longer version of that. I was actually like, it felt a little short to me for some reason. Like it kind of went by really quick, and I was like, oh, that's the end.
I thought, it was pretty cool how it kind of reminded me of Ghost Watch, because there are multiple scenes where there's like a Baphomet Satan and goat type creature in the background just for a second and just kind of fades out. And I think I think the first time I noticed it was when she was going over evidence in the room. And it's pretty easy to see, but it does fade away really quickly, and it happens throughout the film. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And Kiernan Shipka, I didn't know that she was in the film, and then when she popped up, I was like, oh damn, it's interesting, because I just watched The Black Coat's Daughter. That's probably why it was more interesting. But the little weird farm girl character she played was really good.
So what would you ultimately rate this movie? I'm interested to see.
I'm gonna go fairly high, but it probably a little bit lower than you're thinking. I'm gonna say probably like an 8.5.
Wow. Okay, that's exactly what I'm thinking too.
Okay.
This could have been like a 10. There's just little things that pulled it back, but I actually plan on seeing this in theaters again. So we'll see if I pull that off or not. But I want to reevaluate it. And see. For me right now, I'm actually in the exact same place as you, 8.5.
Cool.
So
thanks for watching, guys. If you like this kind of thing, like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. Tell us what you think of this movie. If you think it's one of his best movies, or if you think it's the scariest movie of the year. Maybe it is. Maybe we're wrong. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
see you guys.